Let's talk about the saboteur. The saboteur archetype is one of the universal survival archetypes, and they're considered universal because each of us are influenced by them in the same way. They're recognizable in their patterns. And the saboteur is very good friends with the victim. They're like best friends, like salt and pepper, like Batman and Robin, Bonnie and Clyde, if that's your generation. And but the saboteur has a different set of attributes that you will 100% recognize. Because even if I were to ask you to just think back to sometime today, or in over the weekend, or over the past week, when you sabotage yourself, you'd probably be able to find a few. Even as I was setting up for this video, I was thinking to myself, oh, I have to do the video before it gets too dark, before the light changes. And and it's taken me pretty much all day to get to this video, but no mistakes, because I've had time to, let it roll around in my mind and think about it more fully. Even on the weekend, the saboteur influenced me into saying something to a good friend of mine that was out of character. And because I'm not used to allowing these influences to drive my life, it was really painful, and I wrestled with it. And then the first thing I thought of when I woke up was to make amends, was to offer an apology. And thankfully my friend was patient and gracious, and we were able to talk through it. And so it's interesting as I start to put my attention on these archetypes, how they want to reveal themselves to me. And so it's been interesting in that way. But all right, so here we are. We have our scene set up. We have the video started. So the attributes. So let's just list the attributes of the saboteur, so you can recognize what they are. So the first most obvious attribute is procrastination. If you think about when you're self-sabotaging, probably that's the first thing that comes to mind. That you're procrastinating. You don't, no matter how much you might want to work on that project, or prepare for that interview, or clean the house, or wash your car, or do the laundry, or have that conversation, you just can't get yourself to do it. You just can't take the action. Another attribute is forgetfulness. The saboteur has the power to literally take thoughts out of our head and have us forget important dates. Maybe you forgot a birthday or an anniversary, have us forget names, have us forget what we were going to say in an important talk or a speech or in a YouTube video. And so another attribute is that it can also, the saboteur has the power to influence matter, to have us injured, to have us dropping something, tripping over something, to have us sick and tired. The saboteur can hijack our eating plan, can hijack our desire to go out and exercise, can hijack our desire to spend time with friends, but rather say, oh no, I'm just gonna stay in. I don't want to do that. I don't have the energy for that. I don't feel like that. Another attribute is overwhelm, and you feel like you can't handle it. It's too much. And so as I list out these attributes, you can get a feeling that there's some chaos around it. The saboteur is a chaos generator. If you forgot that important date, you forgot the birthday, or you forgot the anniversary, that's going to result potentially in some hurt feelings, and then you need to make amends. And so the saboteur not only causes chaos for you, but it can also cause chaos for others. And the victim can come in and start spreading its influence around, having you feeling like you've now become a victim to your circumstances, where you defend and you blame and you don't take responsibility. And this is why I brought up the amends in the last video, but that's why getting versed and practiced in making amends is a superpower. So basically, the saboteur is stealing opportunities for where you can go from surviving in the different aspects of your life, at home, in the workplace, in your family relationships, in your work relationships, in your love relationships, can have you going from kind of just surviving, just feeling like you're getting along, to thriving. It stops you from kind of kicking life into the next gear and really, really thriving. So you can see how the saboteur and the victim really are compatriots, how they operate side by side. What I would like to offer in this video is a way to access the core of the energy that fuels the saboteur. A good question to ask is, what if I were to succeed? What if I were to be very successful in my workplace? What if I were to be the husband or the wife that my partner wants me to be, or that I want to be, or the partner that I want for myself to be? What if I do show up and prepare and do my best and succeed? What if I do show up and do my best and I don't succeed? Where my mind is going is, you know, in school, when we're doing our schoolwork, many students don't put their effort in. They let the saboteur drive the minivan so that they have an out. That's why I got that B, because I didn't try anyway. Or that's why I got an A and I didn't even try. So the question that I'm getting at is, so what would happen if you did try? What are you afraid would happen if you did succeed? One of the questions of inquiry that I often use in my client session is, what is the worst thing that could happen if you were very successful at work, if you were the partner that you want to be, that your spouse wants you to be, if you were the parent? And so what often happens is that the saboteur helps us to stay weak and tired and unhealthy and inappropriate, so that we remain weak, so that we continue to be the ones that other people need to look out for or take care of or consider or give attention to. What the saboteur is really frightened of is, if you become the strength in the room, if you become that full embodiment of your full potential in your household or in the workplace, then others will turn to you for strength. They'll start to rely on you. And there's that part that doesn't want that, because there's the part that still feels weak and small and alone and separate, and so is afraid that if I am fully successful, if I fully step into my potential, if I make my daily purpose to receive God's strength and God's grace and to embody that and bring that into my day, that then I'll miss out. I'll be the one that misses out on that attention and that care. You can see that the saboteur's attributes are tied into our personal power, our self-confidence, and our courage, and our self-actualization. Now, at the same time, before I finish this video, at the same time, sometimes these universal archetypes are in place to create a little bit of chaos, to push us into a new situation. And so sometimes, God uses these influences to sabotage one situation so that then we find ourselves or are forced into a different kind of situation. So there's room to have a global perspective, to not necessarily, and actually this is the exit strategy for letting the victim get its way with the shame and the blame for any time the saboteur messes with our lives and starts to create chaos, has us forgetting that appointment, has us saying the inappropriate thing, has us smashing our phone, has us driving up over that pothole and getting a flat tire so we don't make the meeting, have us spraining our ankle right before we're supposed to do a relay and others are relying on us. These are examples of the saboteur. But so if we take that step backwards and we see that, okay, sometimes those things have, not sometimes actually, every time those incidences, those mini chaoses or the big chaoses, they have a bigger purpose. And so that's the next step. That's the work that we do, that I do in the room, that we find what is God's perspective, what is the true purpose for these chaoses in our lives. But what I wanted to share is that, so I'm thinking about a friend of mine who was sharing the story of a family member. And my friend was sharing this story because she was so frustrated, because the family member has had these fantastic opportunities work-wise, has been given the kind of job that she's trained for and that she wanted, and all the stars aligned and things moved aside so that she was able to get basically everything that she wanted. And then slowly but surely, she just started to blow it up. She wouldn't show up. She would make mistakes. She would say inappropriate things. She'd talk back to her boss, despite being given warnings, despite being called in. She just wouldn't stop. And so when we see a pattern like that, it must be making room for something else. So we can, as her audience members, and as my friend is a relative, can make a judgment about it. But if we take a step back and we let it play out, well, perhaps it's getting her out of that situation because she needs to be in another situation in order for something else to happen. Perhaps that's the true path for her soul and for her personality and for her biology. Maybe this is what's better for her. God wants her in that place. And so instead of doing this particular job, even though she thought she wanted it, even though she trained, she studied really hard, even though she networked and she was given the position that she had wanted, perhaps that's not actually the path for her soul's purpose. And so the divine uses the saboteur to create chaos, to blow things up, to then get her into a new situation. So it can also be an ally. So I think that's probably where we should end the video, that the saboteur is not just a chaos generator, but it also, through the chaos, can actually be an ally.